Hello, cyber quilters and quirky black
Hi.
girls. How are y'all doing? This is Moya and Alexis reporting back from the fabulous and wonderful, amazing SisterSong Reproductive Justice meeting that just took place in Atlanta this weekend, November 15th, 2008.
Yay.
Take it away, Alexis.
So, we're going to start at the end with the workshop that we just came from, which was called Self-Help, which is amazing. So, self-help is this technology that women of color developed as a process about how to stay in conversation with each other when it gets hard. So Sister Song, since it has been founded, has been using this technology, and the Black Women's Health Project before that was using this technology for healing and to allow everyone to stay in the same room and have difficult conversations and keep working together. And it's amazing. So we just participated. We heard some stuff about the theory. We got to try out some of the exercises, and you can talk about how you felt, Moya. I felt so connected. I felt so much love just from listening to all of these amazing women of color. I was just like, it was like full access to all the love in the universe in an hour and a half.
Agreed. And it was so, I'm not a crier. I cried. I shared feelings. I felt heard. I felt like I was doing active listening. It felt reciprocal. It was beautiful. It's beautiful and definitely has inspired me to do more self help, self healing work.
Yes. And
Before that, we had lunch, which I just want to say was very good.
yes, good job with the vegetarian
Yes.
lunches.
Thank you. And then before that, we participated in the Queer People of Color Caucus, which was also really fabulous. I felt like the organizers did such a great job of constructing the agenda for the meeting. Like, I really felt like we got to some things that were really important. So one of the things that came out multiple times was dealing with how is it that we're going to create not just an inclusive movement, but something that encompasses all of our diversity along the axis of gender when you're using language like sister song and women of color. How do we not just be inclusive of trans issues or gender nonconforming folks, but really doing the work to make it a space where everyone is at the table, not including people, if that makes sense.
Right, and I think so. We talked about, they had these different cafe conversations where we talked about Proposition 8 and scapegoating of people of color. We talked about the role of trans people in Sister Song, and we talked about what the queer agenda for Sister Song should be. And I think the bottom line is if we just have to queer what we do, which means being creative enough to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. I think that's what it was, and it was beautiful to be surrounded by visionary queer folks who are doing the work of reproductive justice.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, everybody was fly and fabulous too, I must say.
This is absolutely true. And then, do you want to say something about the earlier things because you were there for that earlier session?
Right. So the opening plenary was about healthcare as a human right, and people took really different approaches to that. The moderator really framed it through what Barack Obama said about healthcare being a human right, and had some questions about, well, how do we define health if it's centered around women of color? How do we define reproductive health? And, what do we do with those definitions? And I think those definitions were kind of exemplified by the panelists. So Imani from the Rebecca Project spoke from the perspective of incarcerated mothers who should be at the center of defining policy for treatment for women of color. And she also brought up the issue of the fact that in all but 3 states, women who are giving birth, who are incarcerated, are shackled to tables while they're giving birth. And just how, that's an intensely traumatic experience. And talking about that experience completely transformed the way that she related to reproductive justice work. And I think it's, if I'm going to remember one thing coming out of the conference, it's that is still happening in almost every state in the United States, and that it's key. Like, slavery isn't over at all until we address these issues right now.
And so with that, we just wanted to say if you have any questions or you want to learn about how you can get in contact with any of these fabulous organizations or learn more about any of the things we've talked about, you know where to find us. Talk to you later.
Love you.
Bye.